built on relationships, focused on people, and rooted in the community. Welcome to the Build Blue Podcast. Tune in for weekly episodes featuring guests who are building a better tomorrow. You'll hear inspiring stories from industry leaders, business owners, community partners, and our team members. The Build Blue Podcast, where construction comes to life. An Apex Construction Group production. This is the Build Blue Podcast. I'm Jess Blaze, your host, and I am joined today by Mary Kaus from iSpace Environments, and we are so happy to have you on the podcast.
Yay. Thank
Welcome.
you so much. Appreciate the offer. This is great.
It's so fun.
It's exciting.
And we want to start by learning a little bit more about you. Tell us about yourself and your role at iSpace.
Well, my name's Mary Kaus, like you said. I just started at iSpace in May. So it's, oh my gosh, coming up on a year.
Almost a year.
Yeah. It's been a great fit. Commercial furniture. So, and I started at a really good time because COVID wasn't great on the furniture industry or just the building industry in general.
The office industry.
The office industry, yes. So I started in May and things really started to open up. And, you know, being in southern Minnesota, there wasn't a huge effect on commercial office industry in general, just because the bigger, more, you know, Minneapolis, New York, I mean, those were really hit really hard with COVID, but it's been great. Mm-hmm.
It's so exciting. And iSpace is newer to the Mankato market, but not a new company.
Correct. Yes. So iSpace started in 1993, so almost 30 years ago. And Joel Peterson is our owner. He resides up in Minnetonka. But iSpace in Mankato started 6 years ago, and Dan White started it basically from his kitchen. And then now we have a brick and mortar. We've got a showroom. So we just opened that in December, which is very exciting because we can obviously showcase what we do and touch and feel. And it's really a good sales tool for us.
And it's so beautiful. It's right downtown,
Yep, right
across from the Civic Center. And
Yes.
it's just like modern and bright and open. And it just, I haven't actually been inside. I've just like peeked in the windows to and from events at the Civic Center, and it looks so cool.
It is. And it used to, you know, it's a historic building, so it's a really cool spot. It used to be Grafe's, and then it was JP Fitness, where I work out now, which they have a new space, which is great, bigger. And we completely transformed it. We built up the ceilings, so the ceilings are really high, so it feels a lot bigger, and we can show off a lot of the products that we sell. So
which is helpful.
Which is very helpful.
So we do an icebreaker on the podcast on every episode. And so I have to ask you, if you could open and run any business, what would it be?
Oh, that's a good one. I have always been obsessed with clothes and fashion. So it's cliche, but definitely a boutique.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
Yeah.
You would be great at that.
Yeah, it would be really fun. And I thought about it, but you know,
Maybe
there's
someday.
a lot right now. But
Maybe someday.
I like to support local boutiques anyway, so I go to local places. But
there's so many good ones too.
So many
I feel
good
like for the
ones.
size of city that we have
We have
in
a lot.
Mankato, we have a lot of really good options.
I'm really excited for Vivian Rose to reopen
Yes.
and their new space. I've been following them on social media.
I did get a sneak peek, and the brick walls and the exposed ceilings.
Yeah.
She's got like a anthropology vibe going, which is super exciting. So since we're talking about clothes, I have to bring up iSpace's website. So I was on the website doing some research for the podcast episode, and I am obsessed with the headshots that flip to the shoe shots.
Right?
What is the story behind that? Do you know?
Yeah. So they just, I mean, they obviously think that shoes kind of give away your personality, right? So that just was like, hey, wear a fun pair of shoes, and that reflects your personality, and that'll be the second shot. Yes. Now I think I went with something really safe.
I think you're wearing nude pumps.
Yeah, just nude pumps, just because of my
Which
outfit.
are great.
But yeah, some timeless, I guess.
Yes,
Pumps,
classic.
Classic. But yeah, it's fun to go look on our website and see everybody's socks.
I thought that was so
especially
fun.
the guys. You know, the guys can really be creative with that one.
Oh,
but,
yeah. Oh, I absolutely love that. I thought that was so fun. So you guys have really stood out over the last year, and maybe it's just because I know you, and since I've been aware that you're working there and I've been noticing it more, but in the community engagement aspect. You guys have really been standing out at iSpace from sponsorships. You emceed the One Bright Star fundraiser at the end of February, which you did an amazing job.
Right.
My husband keeps saying, "Take it away, guys." That's your new signature line.
Take it away. Wait, yeah, that's right.
When you were putting,
to the band. Oh my gosh.
So good.
Well said.
So,
eloquent speaking.
Talk about the community involvement piece and how that ties into iSpace's culture and mission.
Yeah, well, I think in Mankato, I don't know, everybody up in our Eden Prairie office always talks about how Mankato's really special. Like, nobody up in Eden Prairie is as involved in the community as we are down here in Mankato. And there's only 3 of us right now in Mankato with iSpace. And then, of course, everybody more resides up in the metro area. But each one of us it is involved in the community in some way. So, and I think most people in Mankato are passionate about that, right?
Yeah.
I think it's a really special thing. So I'm involved in my thing. Dan White's involved in his. He's on the Backpack Food Program board and City Center Partnership, and then Becca's on the One Bright Star board. I most recently was involved with Raw Fusion and the Builders Association, Minnesota River Builders Association, and then the United Way, of course, too. Yeah. But so One Bright Star came about because Becca's on the board, and she asked me to MC, and of course I did, and you guys were there, and it was a really fun event. Never done that before, but it went well, and I did it with Jamie Jacobs, of course, our good friend. But
you guys were great, and what a neat event. I had never attended, and one thing I think is really cool, and Jamie and I talked to this on the episode of the podcast that she was on with me, is seeing coworkers support causes that people on their team are passionate about.
For sure. And that's just, I mean, we just had the backpack food program, the climb out at Mount Cato, and I did that with Dan, and some people came down from the metro, and that was really hard. But again, we're supporting each other, and it's not only people coming down and supporting us. I mean, I've got the polar plunge up in Minneapolis on Friday, so I'm taking the plunge. Which I don't know. I'm just going to be cold.
What's the weather? I was just going to say, what's the weather forecast?
The weather forecast, I think it's going to be almost 40, so not frigid.
But the water will be
frigid. And I think it's in and out. It'll just be one of those team building events. And we raised a lot of, I think we raised like $5,000 so far as a team. We've got about 30 people doing it.
Cool.
iSpace, yeah. And then what else? We got Raw Fusion. Yeah, iSpace was a sponsor of that, and that was in November. At the historic post office.
At the post.
You were there?
Yes, I was.
You were a judge. And then what else did we do? Beers, Brats, and Bourbon with Backpack. Oh, yeah. That was also a fun event. What else? I think that was it.
Were you guys at Fire and Ice?
I was at Fire and Ice, but iSpace did not sponsor. But I am doing the Women with Heart.
That's
luncheon.
right.
I'm
You're
going to
be the chair of the Women with Heart luncheon, which is a huge event
It's the kickoff,
Greater Mankato Area United Way.
It's their kickoff fundraiser, so it's a big event. And last year, of course, I think they had a record attendance.
Yeah, I think it was like 740 women, which is bananas. It's like the middle of the day in the summer, and everyone comes out and supports, and you're going to be great for that role. Yeah, but I think it does speak to team's culture when you see people that are encouraged to get involved, and then you see team members supporting the way that their coworkers are involved, which 100%, is really cool. So
and
kudos
that's just
to
part of
iSpace.
the culture. Culture at iSpace is great. So
that's awesome. So let's get into the services that you guys provide at iSpace and kind of what sets you apart. You can talk about maybe changes that you've seen living in this post-pandemic world, and how you guys are helping companies cater to their employees' needs.
Sure. So we do see a vast variety of businesses that come to us. So it's definitely not a one-size-fits-all approach to anybody, right? We have rural people that we, in Gaylord, Minnesota, and we have people that we're helping in Scotland right now, and Oklahoma, and Wisconsin, and Texas. So it's just a whole, and we do have a really cool project in London right now too. So we're global, which is exciting. We can see those projects, and that's from our relationships with a lot of different, like, larger corporations. But with my role, I'm an account executive, so really I'm the point person, and I didn't realize it would be a lot of workplace strategy. I mean, that's a lot of the discussions right now with people. How do we get people back to the office? I mean, Minneapolis, it's a ghost town still. one of the companies that we work with, Polaris, they just said, hey, everybody's going back full time Monday, like all or nothing. So that was an interesting approach, where a lot of different businesses are saying hybrid, 3 days a week is going to be the norm. I really do think that will be the norm more for metro areas with people with commute and things like that. But it's really, how do you get people back to the office? Do we bring in amenities at work? Do we get events and culture, like you said, like more team building events happening? And how do we change our culture? Because I think you even posted a meme that you always post the best memes and GIFs. I'm like, oh my gosh, these are so funny. But I think it was like, hey, we got to get people back into the office because, it's for our culture. And then there was a picture of like this really sad cubicle like this 7-foot cubicle. And I mean, that's people are working in that environment still, and that's what they're used to, and that's what they're comfortable with, and that's fine. But anything new that we're doing furniture wise for workstations and your cubicle or what everybody says, but we're putting heights down now. Heights are they're not 70 inches anymore. They're 40 inches, they're 50 inches, so you can see what's growing around you. And now there's noise canceling headphones you can bring in and things like that, so you're not loud. But those are the trends we're seeing, and more collaboration areas, and we have a tech booth, phone booth. That's kind of a unique product now. You can go in and it looks like a phone booth, and it gives you some privacy if you do need to take a private call.
Okay, that's super cool. I was going to ask how people were balancing the need for like being face to face, but also still maybe needing that space to do like a client call or something that you do want a little bit more quiet.
Yeah. The phone booths have been, and it also breaks up the space too. So you don't just see a sea of cubes, right? And that's kind of, you want to bring in some varying heights and some different elements to make it not just one big open sea of cubes.
And are you seeing that primarily post-pandemic? Like these changes, or was this something that was kind of in the works?
This was something in the works for sure. Yeah, those have been around for a while, but it's just kind of emphasizing that post-pandemic, I would say. Now we know we have more science, right? We've got more data, like surfaces aren't spreading COVID, right? Things like that. I mean, the acrylic screens people were trying to do, those do nothing. So, I mean, there was a lot of money wasted, and there's a lot of acrylic and plastic sitting out there, which is really sad. It is. But those are, the trends are going to remain, right? Hybrid workplace. And then just shorter cubicles and less private offices too.
Which is fun because it kind of makes everyone feel like
included,
they're part of it on the same level.
Yeah. And it creates a better culture.
What about technology? What kind of cool things are you guys doing in the technology world?
Yeah, so we do have a technology team, full on AV, low voltage, and we do video conferencing. And so we can really merge what I do furniture wise with our tech team, which is a great marriage there. So right now, I mean, video conferencing is a must. I would say along that path goes sound absorption. So the acoustics are good in a conference room. Even this room, Jess, it's a lot of hard surfaces.
It does, Mary. And the concrete floor
makes
it tricky to do what we're doing.
Yes. And so I can help you out, but I know that things are changing. But
we are moving, which is not a secret. We're going to be moving. We've outgrown our space, which we have a beautiful building.
I know.
But we do have a lot of hard surfaces.
Yep. So bringing in, wall panels and ceiling tiles too. So those are some of the products we offer to bring the acoustics to a better level. We do see a lot of people doing exposed concrete for their floor. And so you do need something to balance that sound out. So we do, baffles from the ceiling and things like that. But as far as technology goes, we do have a really cool video wall in our showroom, and it does use 4 different screens to make a big one. And it's definitely a showstopper. But if you are a company that wants to welcome somebody, you have tours and want to make them feel special by clients coming in, you put their name on there, welcome so-and-so. It really adds that special touch and that experience while they're visiting you. So we've seen a lot of that. Now, content creation, you can do lots of different things with the video wall. But those are some of the trends there, and they are getting less expensive, which is good. But we also have, sound, or if you want to if you want to do a room, like if you have a conference room and you want to schedule the conference room, we have, scheduling software and things like that.
Sure.
But our tech team, they definitely have a lot to keep up with because it's a very fast changing industry.
But it's cool to hear that it's becoming more affordable for small companies that want to get into some of those, whether it be content creation or doing a podcast. It's, it's not out of reach.
Well, right. And I mean, we do see companies that still have projectors. You have to turn the lights off and you have to, that's common still, which in my industry, I'm like, wow, that's crazy. But it is, it's so we can definitely help people if you want to be more cutting edge. It doesn't cost a ton of money, but definitely something that you kind of need to keep up with the times a little bit.
And I think with people are looking for employees and employees are looking for different things than they were even 5 years ago.
Yeah. So it's definitely, the great resignation is a real thing. People are really reflecting on, where they want to be and what company they want to work for, because you're spending a ton of time at work and a ton of time with your coworkers, and people are really sitting back and saying, hey, this isn't maybe for me. And there's so many jobs out there now that people can have the flexibility to move careers or think about something else. And employee retention is so important. And workplace culture and furniture, it all kind of ties in together in technology.
Totally. I mean, people want to feel good where they're spending 40 or plus hours of their week.
Right.
And they want to, I think company culture, collaboration, all of those words are going to be really big.
Even the word resumercial, which
what is
kind of
that?
Common. That's common in our industry, but it's making the space more homey. You have a plant in your office, bringing in biophilia, which is greenery. Well, it looks real, looks good.
It's fake. It's from Hobby Lobby, but thank you.
But daylight too.
Yes.
I mean, we're spending 90% of our lives indoors, which is really sad. And so bringing in plants, bringing in that biophilia and sunlight is also just a mood lifter. And those are also more architectural design, but also go hand in hand with our interior design and furniture.
Sure. And if someone is in an existing building and maybe those things, you're not going to put windows in if they're not doing a renovation to that scale.
Right.
They can bring you guys in and say how can we improve what is it? Resumercial?
Resumercial.
Oh, I love that word.
And so a lot of our workstations, if you think of a typical cubicle, right, it's enclosed. The whole thing is down to the floor, to the wherever datum height you want to bring it up. But now we're seeing it's looking more residential. You can see your feet and it's open. It's more like furniture. Like you can see the legs of the furniture, and then also bringing in features where you can attach a planter right to your workstation wall, and then having felt and just those soft touches or cork or different materials and just varying everything in that space where it's not just, wood and fabric or glass. It's just other materials and more textures.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you have on your email signature, you have a couch and a chair as part of the signature. And I emailed you and I was like, I kind of want that in my house.
Yeah.
It's
resumercial
where it's interchangeable and you could put it in your home.
And of course we did a funky pattern just because we do see a lot of people just picking a black chair and boring colors. We're like, spice it up a little bit.
Let's do yellow plaid. I'm like, I'm in.
Retro plaid. And then we have a neon sign, and it's fun. There's lots of, and I obviously love working with clients who are open to change and open to think outside the box. So.
Oh, fun. Well, we are getting a new office.
I know. I got to talk to Jamie, talk to her a little bit.
So is there anything else you'd like to add, Mary, or let people know where they can find iSpace and how they can learn more if they want to make some of these changes for their business?
Of course. So iSpace is located locally in Mankato. Like I was mentioning, it's right downtown 5 Civic Center Plaza. So it's right next to ISG. So they're an architectural firm down here, engineering firm. They're our neighbors. And then we also have a beautiful website. So we have a ton of photos on there of past projects and clients that we work with. And that's really where you can see, some really cool things. So that is iSpaceEnvironments.com. So pretty easy. That's our company name.com. And then we also are on Instagram as well, and Facebook and all that if you want to follow us on Instagram. So.
It's fun to dream about what your office environment could be like.
Yeah, I mean, you can
have to be
definitely,
cubicles.
it's not just tables and chairs. It's definitely more than that. But we definitely want to add value, and we have a lot of expertise too. 30 years.
Wow. That's awesome. Well, it was so fun to talk to you, Mary, and learn more about what iSpace does.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Of course, we'll be seeing you out and about at all of the fun events that we finally get to actually be at
in person,
which is so nice.
It's and spring is coming. I can feel it, and we're both wearing bright colors today. And
people are happy. Do you
I
feel it?
I feel energized. I don't know what
too.
it is, but
I'm
like
it's popped out of bed.
Not 0 degrees out.
I know.
I just really want it to be in the 30s. That's all I'm asking.
I don't have to wear the parka. Finally.
Right. Exactly.
Well, thank you so much, Mary, for
Thanks,
coming on the
Jess.
Build Blue the Build Blue podcast. Easy for me to say, and we'll talk to you again soon.